Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Progress Over Perfection. I'm Mauro. I'm your host, and today we'll stay because last time we were in Rome, we were talking about bicultural couples, and today with Federica Latta, doctor. Sorry, the last episode I didn't say the doctor, but your doctor, Federica Latta, a psychologist training in relational life therapy. This is why I want to talk about patriarchy, because in relational life therapy, we work with patriarchy in couples. How are you, Federica?
Fine, Mauro. Thank you for having me.
How do you define patriarchy? And in the context of modern relationship, what is patriarchy really?
I think that that's a very good question. And for the longest time, psychology ignored the concept of patriarchy. But basically, what patriarchy means, that is, in our society, there is not really equality, that there is a group that has privileges. And when we talk about male patriarchy, we talk about the fact that male have some privileges that women do not have. It's not just, of course, it's not just a gender issue, it's also a racial and cultural issue, because one can talk about privileges. For example, if you are an English native speaker in an English-speaking country, you have a privilege over people that are not native speakers. Or even if you have an able-bodied, agile body, that's a privilege. Also, of course, class and financial situation can give privileges over people that have less means. So when I work with couples, mostly I see the effects of male patriarchy.
And what is about?
It's the fact that men are, in our society, have more privileges, right? They're given more opportunities than women. And what I see in the therapy session, for example, is that men at times feel that they can take this more space. They feel like they don't need to question a lot of the things that come to them. For example, the division of house chores is very unbalanced.
Mm-hmm.
We know that women work more hours per week than men, and often the problem is also the fact that men are not aware of that. They think that the status quo is what is normal, and they don't even question that.
I absolutely agree with you in this, and this is a thing that I am very fonded. I'm very passionate about, because I really try to. I personally grew up in an environment where a man do not wash the dishes. Okay, I couldn't understand why, and haven't asked why, because I was a man and I didn't need to. Then, of course, I grew up doing a pastry chef. So when I used to have my business, I was washing the dishes, of course. But again, at home was
But
something.
you were paid for it.
Yes, was my business. And again, my mom was the one that we have to do. Of course, my dad was working and my mom was a stay-at-home mother with 4 kids. Okay. So my
So she
father
was also working.
was
Right?
also working with 4 kids. Okay. Absolutely. But there's never been this concept, the man actually help to stand, to put the laundry out when it's washed. I never see my dad do that. Okay. That is, again,
Right.
something more come from patriarchy. But what I'm very curious about, in RLT, explain how patriarchy closed man in a box.
Yes,
Mm.
absolutely.
Can you
Absolutely.
explain better this concept?
Right. And let me start with the premise that Terry Real, the founder of Relational Life Therapy, explains very well that in the last generation, women have changed a lot, while men, according to him, have changed much less. So, right, what you describe is the traditional family in which women did the vast majority of their household chores, and men were working outside of the home. Okay. Um, what has happened nowadays, this is not always the case, obviously, but it's not just a matter of, who gets a salary and who stays at home. Now the expectations of women also in the couple have really changed. Terry Real says the job description of what it means to be a partner has changed, and this at times can be difficult for men, because in the past you were a good husband if you were providing for your family and you were not getting into too much trouble. Okay, that was that was that was enough for you to be a good husband, right?
Yes.
Nowadays, women have started to expect much, much more. And in fact, most couples come to therapy because women request that. This is still true nowadays. This is true also in my clinical practice. Women are not happy with just having a husband who is a good provider. They expect romance, they expect good intimacy, they expect meaningful, deep conversations, they expect that they can talk about their feelings, and they expect their partners to be curious about their feelings and about their inner lives. So often men are a little bit puzzled, and they say, but what do you want more from me? I am here. I am coming home after work every single day. Somebody even said to me, I didn't become an alcoholic. The only thing I do is work and be with my family, right? What more do you want, right? And they have a hard time even understanding what women are expecting and what they're looking for. So um you know that is one element, that they have a hard time understanding what is required, what is this emotional connection that women so much want. That it's not just physical presence, it's also being emotionally present. Because often what happens when problems start in a couple is that male partners tend to emotionally check out. Terry Real uses this expression. And of course, women complain. They don't like, they have very sensitive antennas, and they can tell when their partner is not emotionally present, has shut down emotionally. And then they protest. They protest very loudly, right? And sometimes very loudly, sometimes less loudly. But I think that the fact that patriarchy has put men in a box also shows up in this. That men, it's almost like men don't even dare to expect more from a relationship. And this is sad, actually, because it's almost like, there's so much more than just being physically present and checking the boxes that are required for you to appear like a good husband and a good father from the outside. There is much, much more. And the fact that men don't even dare to imagine that possibility is, I think, one of the sad effects of patriarchy. The second effect is, as Terry Real points out, is that often men have to sacrifice their emotional inner life in order to maintain the power. Because the message that patriarchy sends is showing your feelings is a negative thing, is a weak thing. It's something not to aspire, and it's something to hide at all costs. And this message is given to young boys very early on, so that they understand very quickly that emotions are not allowed to be expressed, and so often they get suppressed very early. And as Terry Real says, men are allowed only two emotions: anger and lust. And they miss a lot of the emotional richness of inner life. And very quickly, they learn to put away the emotions so that they become very uh, it becomes quite difficult for men to even at times identify and talk about this rich emotional life, because they put it away like in such a remote place that they have very little access at times. Of course, now I'm generalizing, but I think that people that therapists that work with couples are very familiar with, men say, when you ask more complex emotional questions, often the male partner says, I don't know, right? The I
Yep.
don't know,
Yep.
right? And it's because of the society and the family and how you grew up. It's like, I cannot even dare to have access to my emotions, so I put them away if I want to have power.
Absolutely. Look, I agree with you because I can see in my therapy the majority of the problem come out because the men do not know how to express their emotion. Yesterday had this very young gentleman from is a Middle Easter, and we were talking about relationship, and he said, "Well, I think very young. He was very curious, very smart guy. He said." Well, what I learned is if I show emotion to my partner, then my partner own me. Means that I'm weak and I can be I know used. All these things can be used. A woman do not fell out of love with someone that is not connected, not actually talk about a situation. I look at him and says, "So you believe in the alpha male theory, the macho man theory, the Rambo theory?" I say, "Yes, this is everything I I learned." At the end of the session, when I told him about the alpha man experience that actually was a mistake. That actually the guy that talk about alpha male say, "No, I'm wrong," and and what it means today for women being in relationship, women today a, expect a kind of emotional connection, and this is normal because your partner, if you think this is what I think, yeah? Your partner is your mate in a battle against the world. If you cannot trust your mate, who are you gonna trust?
Right.
Correct.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you can see how the patriarchy deprives men for the experience of expressing a whole range of emotions, right?
Absolutely. 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 What do you think we can do to help boys? Because we have a lot of young male suicidal. I think is an effect of the patriarch closeness that we cannot discuss or talk. Don't cry, don't be a girl. So
Right.
everything feminine is bad. You cannot be vulnerable because otherwise. So what we can do to help men to become more emotionally intelligent?
I think that definitely already talking about patriarchy and talking about not just the privilege part, but also the cost that those privileges have is really important. Because, yes, of course, you have more power, but the cost is really high. The cost of sacrificing a part of yourself, not even expecting that there could be somebody that welcomes and accepts your fears and your desires and your internal experiences is important. So talk more about this and highlight the cost that
Mm,
comes with the privileges, and also educate more about educate people, men and women, to talk about emotions, especially with the people that they love, is very very important. um, and to um, educate also women, because at times what happens is that when men finally get in touch with their emotional vulnerability, often women, because it's not exactly how women have had expected, women have a hard time accepting it, right?
mm,
And to say, wait a second, at times in therapy I have to say, wait a second, you wanted him to talk about, how it is for him, and now he's doing it and you're telling him that is not good enough, right? But now he's doing it, look, because women are not used to that, and so they have at times preconception about what that would look like. But sometimes I have to say, look, it's happening right now.
Yeah, again, we can refer to the bicultural situation. No, you have a man and a woman in the room, or two men or two women or whatever. Uh, they both try to grow, and when one of the two grow, the other one is not happy of the growth, even if little.
Right.
The little grow of the one side. It's very interesting. A patriarchy, anyway, is not only for men; it's for women too. There's I have clients where the man is more connected to her emotional status, and the other side you have a more we call masculine woman. Okay, see again, a strong woman is masculine. Yeah, so this
Mm.
this thing, no. Anyway. Uh, these women as well have this situation. When you talk about patriarchy in your room, how people take it?
Most people acknowledge um, that there are some privileges, that, and often they are open to acknowledge that there is a price. There is a price for both. And I talk about the price that both have to pay, because when you do not express your emotions, yes, you appear stronger from,
Mhm.
the outside, you appear stronger, but there is a cost. And when you express your emotions, also there is a cost, because it's too much, it's inappropriate, it's out of control, it's weak, it's too emotional. So the I acknowledge that there is that patriarchy is, it comes with a big cost for whoever has the power, and for the person that does not hold the power. Yeah, and I also think what you said. I also want to say that Terroriel has a very good um, explanation about, male depression. For example, there is the male depression in his book. I don't want to talk about it, explains really well that this numbness of not being in touch with emotions leads to uh, depression that presents itself not in a more typical way of somebody that doesn't is not able to get out of bed, but with this numbness, with
Mm.
addiction to porn, addiction to digital devices.
I agree. I like it. I like that you pick up this one. I was reading. I'm reading actually his book right now, and I like when you say depression in women is exteriorized and men interiorize. So you can see the women be depressed, and you can judge. Oh, look, she's depressed, and a man you cannot say that, but probably the guy
Because
says,
they are running on automatic pilot,
"Yeah,
right? They're like with a lot of pain inside. On the outside, what you see is a man that gets up and goes to work and does what he needs to do.
yeah,
But many couples, women say to me, "I think my partner is depressed." Like, yes, he goes through the motions, but he's just checking the boxes. He's
yeah,
dead,
yeah,
when we interact, like emotionally it feels like he's dead.
is that."
And yeah,
Usually, usually when a partner say a thing like this is because even if they really don't know, I think they really know what's going on. And us as a therapist, I think we should listen that. Um, and is important, especially for men. Ask, "Hey, are you okay?"
yes,
No, so is a
absolutely. I think that women, because of patriarchy, have developed what I call very sensitive antennas. They pick up these
mm,
things.
mm,
They can detect when their partners are emotionally checked out,
yeah.
or when their partners are spent.
Mm. True, true, true. Um, eh, I am thinking right now the fact that a man in a long-term relationship, a good long-term relationship, live 8 years longer, and not than the one that is single. Where women do not really have effect by the marriage because the women are already connected with other women, more the easier connect with other people. Where men struggle to create a bigger friendship with other people. I can
Right, absolutely.
yeah, I can see myself. My wife have a lot of friends. I have three, four, four friends. She is always ba 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 ba. I'm here. I'm okay, but I understand now why for a man it's so important to have a good relationship because it's what to keep you alive.
Right,
Relationship.
right. And the effect on health, on marriage, is very, very interesting. And it has been explained with the fact that, if you are a man and you're married, you eat more healthy food, you drink less, you
Mm,
sleep better, you do regular physical exams with, you see doctors more regularly. And then it was interesting that this is not true for women. For women, the positive effect is shown if they are in happy marriages, but being in a unhappy marriage has no positive health effect on women.
absolutely.
And there was also, and it's interesting what you said about the fact that women are more socially connected because they have a social network that is bigger. There was a recent article that I was reading that we're talking about the fact that among all the tasks that are on women's shoulders, not just most of the house chores and the emotional mental load of the house and of the couple and of the children, there was this new term was coined. It was menkeeping, right? It's like instead of housekeeping, it's menkeeping, because was saying that often women are responsible for organizing and maintaining all the social, not all, but most of the social relationships of the couple. So it's mostly women that remember whose birthday it is and who buy the cards that needs to be sent at Christmas, and that, or arrange to organize the social interactions.
I agree with you. Again, when you speak, I'm thinking about me and my wife. So, anyway, Federica, we are at the end of this double appointment. First with the bicultural couple, and now with patriarchy. It's been very, very interesting. Thank you so much for your beautiful words. I hope I can have another interview with you very, very soon, because the way that you speak is so clear. I hope someone to listen can actually take some advantages about what you're saying. Now, again, if someone want to work with you, where they find you?
www.federicalatta.com. Thank you. Thank you for your
It's
nice
beautiful.
word.
You know that the www is only Italians say that. Anyway, thank you so much.
It's a cultural difference.
Yes, see? Thank you, Federica. See you at the next video. And you that you listen this, enjoy the podcast, press like, subscribe, and if you like it, if you don't like it, that's fine. See you next time. Ciao.